welcome to the Walt Whitman Show. Hello, Neon Bubbles. Thank you very much for being the first person. You're all very welcome. Hello, Susan. Hello, Track. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Ducky. Thank you very much for coming. Yes, Batisova. Hello. Oh, nice to have your presence. Nice to have you, George. Rekha Byrock, hello. Erwin, Mark, J. Fraz, that's Mark Frazzle from Chicago. Very welcome, very welcome. Nice to have you, George. Very nice. Hello, Anne. Ashleen is Anne, and you're very welcome. Evie Tweez, hello. Hello and welcome. You're here. There are a number of people who I don't recognise, and thrilled to have you. Hello, David from Party World there in the southeast of Ireland. And you're all very welcome. This is a show that happens most evenings on Periscope. And this is Walt Whitman. I'm not Walt Whitman. Revolutionary is from Galway and is very welcome. Haven't seen you in a while now. So this is Walt Whitman, 19th century American poet, who I happen to think is the greatest of all the American poets. This is his collection called Leaves of Grass, his life's work. He added to it, he juggled around the order of the poems throughout his life. But that's what he's famous for. He's famous for a book called Leaves of Grass, and it's unusual in lots of ways, including the fact that most poets publish a number of books, each of which have a different name, but Walt Whitman put all of his in one book, Leaves of Grass. And hello, Adams, hello. And this is it. And on the Walt Whitman Show, we've been reading and listening to all the poems in this book, and we're about halfway through. So it's going to take quite a long time more to read them all, but it'll be something significant, I think, to have worked through all of Walt Whitman's poetry. Ruby Jane, hello. How do you do? I should actually be human. Disembodied voice and say hello to you all. And just the way the Walt Whitman Show works, I had a vision in my mind how Walt looked. From the pictures I've seen on here, he looks. You're reading T.S. Eliot. Well, Walt Whitman looks exactly how you thought. Yes, I'm about to tell you. It's Susan in the collection of poems called, what are they called? Seascapes or sea drums, sea drift. And we're going to read I'm going to read a poem called After the Sea Ship. After the Sea Ship. And it's directly before a long poem called by a Boston Ballad. So the way the Walt Whitman Show works is that I'm going to read some poetry to you. Hopefully you'll have a reaction to it. There we are. You can react any way you like. You know, you don't have to like it. It doesn't have to be your favourite or anything. But the main thing is we give each other our personal reaction to the poem. And I'm not an English professor. I'm not a teacher of poetry. I do write some poetry, but the aim is to just have a group of people who love each other's company and who like the fact that there's a place where we can enjoy one of the things we have in common with each other. I think that probably all of the people here, with very few exceptions, either love poetry in general, Walt Whitman in particular, or love the company of other people on the scope. So I, in case you're wondering, am very tired. I went to Dublin today. I went to see Mary Poppins. Very, very good show. But I'm very tired. Been too long since I've been with the fine friends of Walt Whitman and Paul. Well, James, you are very welcome. You know, we all have other lives to live. It stirs a reactionary conversation about it, yes. It's not a place to be. I mean, we're very fortunate that we have one or two people here who know rather a lot about what Walt Whitman might have meant. But it's more what this poetry means to you and to me, to us. And you're flying over to Dublin. Yes, I remember you saying that. I remember you saying you were coming over to Dublin on Christmas Eve, I think. Or certainly maybe. So I don't want to keep you waiting too long, because there'll be some people here who will have come purely for the poetry and they want to hear what Walt Whitman is like. So I'm going to read you now. It's a short poem. It was first published, I'm reading now from what Andrew has told, in the Christmas edition of the New York Daily Graphic. Haven't a clue what that was, in December 1874. Right. So, a poem of Walt Whitman, published in a newspaper in 1874, called After the Sea Ship. Now, let me just get this thing here. So here's how it goes. After the sea ship, after the whistling winds, after the white grey sails taut to their spars and ropes, below a myriad waves hastening, lifting up their necks, tending in ceaseless flow towards the track of the ship. Waves of the ocean, bubbling and gurgling, blithely prying, waves undulating, waves, liquid, uneven, emulous waves, towards that whirling current, laughing and buoyant, with curves, where the great vessels sailing and tacking displaced the surface. Larger and smaller waves in the spread of the ocean yearnfully flowing. The wake of the sea ship after she passes, flashing and frolicsome under the sun, a motley procession with many a fleck of foam and many fragments, following the stately and rapid ship in the wake, following the stately and rapid ship in the wake, following. There are an awful lot of F's in the last few lines of this poem. A huge number of F's. Nigel, hello. Spectre, hello. Ruby, hello. So that's the first reading, just to kind of get you warmed up, give you your first, if you like, your first hearing of the poem. It's actually my first time reading it. So, you know, it's as fresh. I keep using words starting with F. It's as fresh to me as it is to you. It's, yes, I'm drinking a little French white wine. I've been in a car for nearly 6 hours today. So fresh and fantastic. Just a little libation to finger snaps. Okay, here, he's talking about the ocean. Sounds like he's describing a woman. Well, what about the chances that he's... If it's Whitman, he's likely to be describing a man, really. Wet the whistle, wet your whistle. Hello, Russell's verse, hello. Yeah, wet your whistle, that's a phrase that we use. I'm Jerry Springer's father. Jerry Springer's father, yes. Absolutely. No, it's just that a lot of people ask me, am I related to Jerry Springer, or say, do you realize you look like Jerry Springer? Yes, I think it, yeah, Mother Nature, yeah. I should change my name to Springer. Good night. Hello, Miss Beauty, hello. Bye-bye, David. Cheerio. David lives very near the sea. He lives down in the southeast of Ireland, very near the sea. Yeah. Monday, Tuesdays, Jackie is here. Hello, Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Well, I'm going to read it again. Certainly, I tell you, the first time I read it, I'm more interested in making it understandable to you than I am to me. He's battling something on the inside. Well, what about what effect it has on you yourself? I mean, we're speculating about Whitman. And, you know, we could be speculating forever. But does it draw you to the sea? If Frameable Faces is here, will you please say hello to Doug or Ali from me? I think Doug and Ali are pretty fabulous, fantastic. Yes, phantasmagorical sometimes. Yes, highly recommended. Very funny, but quite serious as well. Yeah, if they're unknown to you. Hello from Turkey. Hello, hello Turkey. Hello Dr. Mustafa. Hello. Makes you think of a journey and a struggle, of a battle of one's self-ambitions. Yeah. Ballymena in Northern Ireland. Wow. Lovely. Chuck, hello. Welcome to you all. I'm Paul. Paul is my name. And I'm a reader of the poetry of Walt Whitman. And the Walt Whitman show is a bit of time when you can hear the poetry of Walt Whitman from the last edition of his work being read chronologically. And we've got to around halfway through his entire works. Paul is his name, poetry is his game. Batisova, thank you for inviting somebody. Thank you. I always love it when somebody invites one person. Yes, T.S. Eliot, good. Yes, that's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think we're about halfway along. Yes. And Susan has invited her followers. That's lovely. And also shared it on Twitter. That's great. That's lovely. I always live in the hope that some, newcomers will come along here, and I should narrate poetry for audiobooks. I'd love to do that. Spectre, I would love to do that. I really would. Hello, welcome. Okay, here we go. Here we go. After the sea ship. After the sea ship. Well, you're very gentle. Thank you. You're very kind. So after the sea ship. After the sea ship. After the whistling winds. After the white-grey sails taut to their spars and ropes. Below a myriad waves hastening, lifting up their necks, tending in ceaseless flow towards the track of the ship. Waves of the ocean bubbling and gurgling, blithely prying. Waves, undulating waves, liquid, uneven, emulous waves. Towards that whirling current, laughing and buoyant with curves, where the great vessel sailing and tacking displaced the surface. Larger and smaller waves in the spread of the ocean yearnfully flowing. The wake of the sea ship after she passes, flashing and frolicsome under the sun. A motley procession with many a fleck of foam and many fragments following the stately and rapid ship in the wake, following. In the wake, following. So there you have a Walt Whitman poem in which he addresses or speaks about the sea and the waves and being tossed and turned and buoyant and liquid, and he uses words which, apart from emulous, I think all the words are pretty words we'd be familiar with. It describes life's twists and turns and ups and downs and crashing, bubbling and gurgling. Yes. Yes, the waves of body part. Yes, oh, Saint Noir, hello. Saint Noir, hello. Bubbling, gurgling. Kate, Suntrine 1, hello. Hello. Saint Noir, hello. Welcome. Farley, hello. This is the poem After the Sea Ship. After the sea ship, which is, and the sea, you feel you're being, when you're reading it, you feel like you're moving, and it isn't a very Nothing is steady, everything is on the move. You know, the ship is going forward, the waves are hitting it. You're kind of, it's almost like as if the poem, to me, it feels like I'm being, like Melville, I'm being urged now. I can't pretend I've read Melville, apart from one or two bits. Yes. Can anybody, hello dear daughter, hello, and you're very welcome. The power of the sea, and welcome to Lars. Can anybody tell me, please, where it says after the white grey sails, taut to their spars and ropes, are any of you sailors? Can you tell me what spars are? There's a new film about Moby Dick just coming out very soon over here, maybe across the ocean already. I saw the trailer and I thought it was magnificent. Yeah, what does anybody know what the word spars, S-P-A-R-S, rhymes with Lars? Yes, I thought so. Yes, I thought that. Taut to their spars, or wood on masts. Thank you, Mark. Spars are wood on the mast, right? So it's all to do with tying fixing the sails to the ship, taut in the heart of the sea, strong pole, right. And what was the other one? I wanted to know what the word emulous means. Waves, undulating waves, liquid, uneven, emulous waves. I don't know what emulous means. I found I got a bit of a shock when you put the word liquid in. We have undulating waves. I will of course. To emulate is to copy. No, I suppose emulous is copying. Okay, I've got it. The webs are repeating. My drink of choice is gin. Seeking to, yeah. My drink of choice is gin. Right. I was very tickled by laughing. Yes, I was very tickled by gurgling. Bubbling and gurgling. Well, that's the thing to do. Very handy. Laughing and buoyant, yeah, with curves. And you know, what were the waves emulate? Well, I think one wave emulates the other wave. I think it's about, the impression I had was that it was, you have undulating waves, liquid, which made me smile, liquid, uneven, emulous waves. I think, well, I thought it was to do with the repetitiveness of waves, that one comes after the other, and one emulating the other, but another uneven one, another liquid one, another. The topic is a poem by Walt Whitman, After the Sea Ship. Oh, you got a tree that is too pungent to keep inside. Wow. No, it's fine. The Walt Whitman show is a regular show in which I read the work of Walt Whitman, the American poet, and we constantly changing to adapt our copy. Right. So it has their two different meanings. I saw the waves as emulating flowing tresses of hair. Well, what I love about this is, Andrew has just said, this, on the one level, the poet is describing the waves, finding language which is particular to the poet's own perception of the waves, and offering them to us as a way of saying, look, here is some waves that I met. But at the same time, the poem offers us an ability to see it all as allegorical. The waves could stand for something else. It could be an allegory. And the waves are his relationships, yeah. Now, in theory, he could have sat in his bed writing this poem. You might not have to go anywhere near the sea. Might be working from memory. But I like to think that Whitman had walked by the sea many times, was familiar with the sea. Who knows? I don't know anyway. I only read the stuff. And the other surprise that I had reading the poem. Hello, Lars, my friend, hello. The surprise I had reading the poem was the three words, under the sun. Because recently we've been reading looking at some, or experiencing Walt Whitman's poems, other poems about the sea. And there must be at least two of them, if not three of them, at which it's been waves at night that have been the scenes, the context for the poetry. But this is daytime, under the sun. And now I suppose the ocean bubbling and gurgling would have given the clue. Knock, knock. Who's there? Or that there might be some people who are trying to be like him, and he is there. Oh, he is the ship trying to avoid them. Ah, that's a good, interesting one. The movement of the ship through the water. Yes, and that's displaced the surface. Yes, my daughter's cat, whose name is Puma, has just arrived. So it is possible that the cat will appear. As the waves open around it and then create the wake. Yes, absolutely, yes. The waves are a hard time. Tie the sails, it's like finding ways to deal with the hard time. Straighten out. Look, and he's wet. Puma, talk to the people. Talk to the people. Come on, have a look. Speak. Come on, Puma, here. Come on, speak to the people. I'm lost. You're not seeing where I'm reading. Susan, you have the... We're looking at the same edition. That's important. Are you looking at the 1892 edition? I think you are right. Well, do you see the collection of poems, Seadrift? It's the last poem. You have to spit over your left shoulder every time he walks by the screen. Susan, it's the last poem in that section. Yes, I don't think Puma gives insight, but he reminds me of one person on the Walt Whitman show who I used to call incorrigible. In the early days of meeting this particular person, I called him incorrigible, and I see Puma as, an alternative form of incorrigibility. Yes, trying to emulate, absolutely, yes. Some of you might not know who I was referring to, so I better tell you. This poem was originally printed under the title, In the Wake Following. You can. This is Puma's call to purr, right? This is the call to purr. Yes. Yes. It's a he. It's a he. Well, Susan, what do you think inspired me to mention that? Good night. Good night, Susan. Good night. And pray well. Okay. Come on, Puma. Come on, Puma. Excuse me, Puma. I'm afraid I have to take some... Come on. Now sit there. Sit there. Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a takeover, and I have to do something about it. Yes. Otherwise, it will not be the only thing people... no, not at the moment. You say Puma's a girl. That's not what... Anyway, I think I'm going to read the poem for a third and final time, just to give you a... oh yes, you'd spend your whole life here, Lars. The floor would be full of spit. Yes. Here's the poem one last time. After the sea ship. After the sea ship, after the whistling winds, after the white grey sails, taut to their spars and ropes, below a myriad waves hastening, lifting up their necks, tending in ceaseless flow towards the track of the ship. Waves of the ocean bubbling and gurgling, blithely prying, waves, undulating waves, liquid, uneven, emulous waves towards that whirling current, laughing and buoyant with curves, where the great vessels sailing and tacking displaced the surface. Larger and smaller waves in the spread of the ocean yearnfully flowing. The wake of the sea ship after she passes, flashing and frolicsome under the sun. A motley procession with many a fleck of foam and many fragments, following the stately and rapid ship, in the wake following. You know, sometimes I think that the work of poets is fantastic because you can take the work at the concrete, specific level. And at one level, this is a poem about a ship going through waves during the day while the sun is shining. And at the same time, hello, Meaden, Manhattan, hello. Taking something ordinary, making it majestic, and making it something that enables the listeners, the readers' imaginations to make it meaningful. You see, if this poem is about a woman, that is what it means to you. And great, the poem is about a woman. And that is what is meaningful about the poem to you. Somebody else can see it as being, this is about the wake of a ship. The words evoke femininity, right? And the thing I love about this is that we can each make this poem meaningful for us in our own special, unique way. We're very different from each other. We grew up in different circumstances. We grew up in different countries. We grew up in different values. We have been fashioned, chiseled. We have been painted. Any words you like. And what makes for a universally applicable poem? Well, if you want my opinion, in my opinion, I can't, the phrase universally applicable, the key thing is the word applicable and what that means. And I am not sure. It's not a phrase. I wouldn't normally talk about a poem applying to everybody. But let's say a poem is about death, the human condition. The theme is applicable to everybody. Yes, but certain themes, would be applicable. They'd be relevant. I mean, birth, death, love, disappointment, sadness, sorrow, jealousy, envy, frustration. These any human being has experienced all of those things. So a poem which is rooted in that theme is in a way, can be understood. There's always a bit that gets stuck and makes you think. But I think we each, I'm probably repeating myself all over, I am. But I find that we each make our own meaning from poems. The poet makes the poet's meaning, and I make my own meaning, and you make your own meaning. And you think it's about the emotions that a poem evokes rather than what it's talking about. And yet there are some sumptuously descriptive poems after which you kind of feel that you have been in the presence of an extraordinary description and in the presence of a person who has phenomenal descriptive powers. But isn't it lovely the way we can each express, what it's like for us? Yeah. I'm going to leave you in about 5 minutes, just to let you know, before I tumble down. And in the dust be equal made with the purse, the sickle side and made. It's like water fits any hole. Oh, you watched the Rebel Creative Scope and Catch. Oh, good. Oh, good. You feel, Michael, that poetry has always been inside you. Really? Really, thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. That's it's very good to know what impressions. Yeah. Bye-bye, Mark. My energy was about. Yeah. There was a lot of emotions there. Yes, helping bring out the. Well, yes, you could see your darker sides it touches, yeah. Music is, I think, very. Whitman talks about his poetry as songs, and I think music is. We all have music in us in some form or other, and in a sense, I think poetry. All good poetry is in a sense is musical. Even some poetry can sound a bit like, avant-garde jazz or something. But I think everybody except your dad. What, Lars? I missed the first part of that sentence. Yeah. Terrible stuff. Oh, your father listens to awful music. Yeah, my father used to listen to dreadful music. My father used to listen to Chopin. My father used to listen to... Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. My father used to listen to Beethoven. Can you imagine having a father who listened to Chopin and Beethoven? And what an upbringing. I used to think he listened to dreadful music. He didn't know anything about the Rolling Stones or, didn't know anything about the Beatles, Jefferson Airplane he never heard of. Frank Zappa was foreign to him. He wouldn't have known what Santana were. Yeah, imagine having a father who didn't know. You know, sure, he didn't even know who Joni Mitchell was. Oh, Elvis Presley, no way. Oh, it was awful. It was just, he knew who Percy French was, and he liked listening to John McCormack. He didn't know who the Carpenters were. I'm preaching to the choir. Oh, God. All right. I leave the pulpit. Oh. I thought you might. The fact that you knew Frank Zappa impresses me. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Oh. I'd like a scope where you talk about that reading and that poem. Okay? Okay, I will do that. I will do that. Yeah. I don't know when I'll do it. In 2016. Oh, I better say something. I better say this. You know, we're into now the last couple of days before Christmas and the period between Christmas and New Year. And I don't want to make a promise that I'm going to do the Walt Whitman show every night during that period. So I think I need to have a bit of a break. I can't promise to be back. Good night, Miss Beautiful, good night. So I will of course go to Rob Music Scope. Yes, I think we'll call it a little Christmas vacation. Bangor in County Down, lovely, hello. You're the second person from Northern Ireland who's been on the show this evening. That's very nice to have you. And maybe you know the man from Belfast who I have to check out who Sophia is. I live in Cork, and I was born in Limerick. I'm trying to remember. Eamon Malley. I live in the city of Cork. Please do, Michael. I may know more than I think. It's just that my memory isn't great, and I have to remember. You were born in Newry, live in Bangor, right? And oh my goodness. Yes, I know of Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. Yes, he's an actor. And Corrie, we're just having a bit of a chat that's jumping around the place. the earlier part of the scope involved reading a poem by Walt Whitman called After the Sea Ship. And we're just in the last minute or two of the scope. And a guy called Rob Music did and he's in Los Angeles, and he's a friend of mine from Periscope and a friend of a number of people. But he did a scope this evening about somebody who isn't at all well, and was encouraging people to make scopes specially for her on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And her name is Sophia. And that's kind of Rob Music. He's just Rob, R-O-B-M-U-S-I-C. Fantastic guy. Wonderful. He's a pianist. He a non-forced to retire due to health reasons. Okay, I have to go and find out who today chose to die to save a stranger. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, you can all see Rob's scope. You can all, it happened about an hour ago. So it's saved. So you can see it. Yes, I'm whispering because there are people awake, people trying to sleep in the house. I'm going to say cheerio to you, and I'd like to wish you all a very, very happy Christmas. I'm not sure that I'm going to do another Walt Whitman show before Christmas. So I just like to wish you all the very best, and thank you very much for the company that you give me and give to each other here. It's a very special experience, I have to say that, and I'm very, very fortunate to have it. So, okay, to you all, good night, and thank you very, very much. Bye-bye, Michael. Bye-bye, Jackie. Bye, Andrew. Bye, Lars. Michael. Bay Area Knitter. Yes, all of you. Anne. Christine. Bye-bye.